Wizard101 has been around for nearly 16 years. That is a very, very long time, and a lot of the other games in Wiz's category have either died out or simply are discontinued. However, Wizard101 has something that those other games do not, and that's the fact of the matter that it is, well, essentially a monopoly. Wiz does not really have a lot of competition. However, something we've seen time and time again is Wiz simply likes to play things really safe and by the book. They're too scared to take any risks and all because they don't have to, since they are a monopoly. And over the years, a lot of the gameplay has become stagnant, and we've seen a lot of players decline and quit even just the past couple of years, you know. And I can only speak as a player who started playing again in about 2020. I started making content, I think 2021 or so. So I am more of a recent player, and I'm speaking from my experiences. I haven't been around for like 10 or the 16 years the game has been out like other people have in the community. So if you're one of those members, you could let me know down there in the comments below if I am just completely missing the point or not, or if there's anything I miss in this video, guys. But in the video today, I would like to talk about how long I think Wiz has before it like dies out like any other game. And honestly, I would like to see Wiz just not die in general, you know. Like, I'd love to see Wiz keep going and then like update the graphics someday, because I do truly believe this game is special. And I know I talk a lot of crap about the game, but that always comes from a good place, as you guys know. In this video, I'm gonna try and talk about both of the positives, things that KingsIsle has done right and things that KingsIsle has done wrong. And one thing I think KingsIsle has done right is they've been pretty good with adapting to, you know, the media. There's been a couple of bad instances like like 2016, where they tried to tap into the mobile game market and it absolutely flopped, and they had to lay off like a lot of their staff. And ever since then, they've been trying to, you know, pick up the pieces and get the game back to what it once was. And we have the occasional KingsIsle L here and there throughout the years. They've done some cool stuff, like they have Nick Jonas in here, they have Selena Gomez, and they did the Hogwarts Legacy thing. However, to contradict that point, I also think KingsIsle does not market their game very well. Now, we've talked about this a lot, and we hear it in Rapid stream that you're not our audience if you're playing the game and all, right? And I have seen ads from like my friends and stuff like that. And keep in mind, guys, right, it's important to realize back like when we were kids getting into Wiz, how you would market things back then, like on TV, for example, is completely different how you would market things now. Everything nowadays is practically like AI and algorithms and all. And if you already have like Wiz on your computer and all, it's probably not going to recommend, hey, play Wiz, you know. It's going to recommend something that you don't have. But yeah, my point is Wiz has stayed relevant over the years by simply adapting. Next up, I want to talk about the negatives. Now, I'm going to talk about the updates because that's pretty much where all the negativity stems from. Is, oh, KingsIsle doesn't listen, we hardly get any updates, you know, this world might be a flop, this change might be a flop and all, you know. And I want to say real quick, generally the world updates are not bad at the end of the year. However, waiting a whole year just for one world kind of feels crappy, I want to say. And you think back to, you know, before they laid off like so many people in like 2016 or whatever, like getting like a side world and an actual world, or like 2 worlds a year, was really cool. And I wouldn't even mind it being something short like Wisteria and then like a full world like Wallaroo, because personally I believe the spring update only being a gauntlet is really underwhelming. And this new gauntlet we got was really cool, but the issue is you do it like twice and then you're done with it, you know. And I don't know how long of development that takes for KingsIsle to do a gauntlet like that and all, but I mean, just playing it for like a day or two, or a run or two even, and then it just being kind of dead and gone is just not great. Which means they could either design the gauntlets better or simply do something different, like, well, make a whole new side world with that instead. Like, imagine the Forbidden Library Gauntlet, but like they reimagine that into like a mini Wisteria world. Like Wisteria has like literally 3 areas or something, right? And sometimes with updates, the devs will change things and not realize it's going to nerf something that they did not mean to nerf, you know? You could look at the recent Storm Shark example. that got nerfed, but KingsIsle actually thinks it's a buff. So KingsIsle is extremely stubborn with their numbers and all, and they do try to listen to the community, but they ultimately kind of care more about numbers than their community's feelings that actually run the game, which I think is a big issue. And a good example of this is the Storm School, right? Ever since Rochambeau came out 3-4 years ago or whatnot, people have been extremely unhappy with the state of Storm. And there's plenty of other examples. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. They will make slow changes and fix one thing, but then leave something broken, and that same update also indirectly makes something worse for a school that's already not good. And this player disconnect was at an all-time high, and KingsIsle got so much backlash in a recent update where the entire community was complaining about shield gambits, and their next update they actually ended buffing, they ended up buffing shield gambits, which was like insane, you know. And that's another thing I want to talk about is KingsIsle's like a really reactive company, and I think Richard Unicorn Color talked about this in one of his videos, but it's like nothing gets done at the company unless there's like big backlash, you know. If you call somebody out on social media, or everyone makes videos about it, you know, or everybody's talking about it on like Discord and, you know, the Wiz general. Wiz doesn't really do anything or change anything unless it potentially makes them look bad. And I kind of hate that because, you know, on my channel, I'd rather just be like, hey, this is a problem and this is potentially how to fix it, rather than be like, KingsIsle, you need to stop this now. Players are dropping, yada yada. We are going to quit the game. You can look at any backlash event or even something, not to call out Awesome the Sauce too much here, but when Sauce gets extremely upset with the state of PvP, and rightfully so, okay guys, I'm not trying to throw shade at Sauce, but every time he gets extremely upset about PvP, there is typically an update out within the next month or month and a half. And that's a whole other thing. A lot of community members only feel like the devs listen to like Sauce or me or certain individuals and all, and I completely get where they're coming from. I definitely do think it is apparent when the backlash is there, whether it's like a streamer or everyone's talking about it on social media. That is the only time KingsIsle will do something, right? They won't typically make changes in good faith, it seems like, at a speedy rate. Unless it's the crown shop and it's going to lose them money, then they'll hotfix that in a day. But not being able to critical your spells in PvP for months, nah, we'll leave that. But yeah, I would say ultimately right now, at KingsIsle's pace and trajectory, I honestly don't think the game is going to last as long as I would like it to. Unfortunately, I think we need to see some radical changes because, you know, not to sound like a Debbie Downer here on the channel, but a lot of people are extremely unhappy with the game, whether you do raids, PvP, you're a super casual, you're like a kind of in the middle casual. A lot of people are just extremely upset about a lot of the parts of the game, but the issue is things are not getting updated enough to make anybody happy. And then you have those numerical number changes they make that upset the players even more, and it just makes the game feel even worse and players even more angry. For example, the Storm Shark change. I think KingsIsle really needs to stop caring so much about their metrics and actually listen to the community more. I think as well with their business model for like throughout a year, I think they need to get more updates in there, potentially maybe change the spring one around a little bit, give more players a reason to be active in the game, and keep quality of life stuff coming, like, you know, maybe pet mount stitching, you know, pet system audit, a TC audit, you know, making stuff more accessible, just a lot of quality of life stuff as well. And if something is breaking the entire game, for example, the critical bug in PvP, that stuff should be fixed right away. We should not have to wait months for that, especially if you are a paying member. Because unfortunately, if you really think about it, things cannot really get that much worse. You know, you've upset pretty much every part of the game. School identity is all up in the air. Rochambeau ruined a lot of the game. You know, people say PvP isn't fun and all. There's not stuff to do in PvE. And, you know, all my friends who don't PvP and want to PvE, they're just like, I want to play Wiz, but there's nothing to do. Or, what's the side content in the game? There's just nothing for me to do. And in my opinion, I think Wiz is only going to last probably about 5 more years if we go on at this current rate. There's just not enough content. The players aren't happy. the updates aren't quick enough. The metrics should never overweigh players' feelings and all, because you're going to keep seeing a thing where you keep pissing off the people playing the game because of your metrics, and then they're going to keep quitting, and then eventually all you're going to have left is noobs, which is kind of why you've seen content creators for Wiz die out over the past even like 6 years or so, I would say, because the better you are at the game and the more you understand about the game and the more you engage in like endgame content and PvP, the game just kind of gets worse for you. But all I'm saying is something has to change, because people just really aren't happy with the state of the game right now, unfortunately. And we love this game, we all do, we all want to see it do better and all, but I think we're just tired of waiting. We're tired of stagnant stuff, you know, we're tired of, you know, feeling like numbers matter more than our actual feedback. I think it's rate probably 5 years, and then it's probably gonna be done, unfortunately. And it's sad to say that, but that's my opinion, and that's what I think so far. So I really hope Wiz can change, and that's everything I gotta say for my video. What do you think down there in the comments below? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I look forward to reading them, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching and listening, and take care, guys.